Couple of things going on right now I want you and your family to know about. A couple of things that are happening more and more often in parking lots and movie theaters where the denial, deceit, and deception is growing enormously. But first I want to tell you something about something I'm going to this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. It's called A Night for Freedom. It's going to be in Manhattan. We don't even know where it's going to be yet. They're going to text us when it happens. What it is Gavin McInnes, Stefan Molyneux, and Mike Cernovich. They're putting together like a party. They're putting together like a room full of people. Well, there'll be entertainment, people speaking, and so, kind of lots of meet and greets. So it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun because I'm a big fan of all three of those guys. I'm kind of buddies with Gavin. I've been on Stefan's show at least once, maybe twice. I haven't met Cernovich yet, but nothing but total respect for all these guys. I'm not even 100% sure if there are any tickets left. All I'm saying is if you're in the neighborhood, you want to check this event out somewhere in Manhattan. I got somebody coming in from Ohio to pick me up, and we're going up together from Cincinnati, Ohio. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. Okay, that was your vegetables. Here's your milk and cookies. I was talking to one of my buddies here, just a cigar smoking buddy, and his wife pops in and goes, "Hey, Colin, you ought to join that Wilmington, I think it's called North Wilmington Moms Club on Facebook, because there's a lot of stuff happening in parking lots that people don't know about. Black people are robbing women, older women, younger women, women in between, as they leave the store and head for their car. Boy, they're such perfect targets. Everybody's distracted. Everybody's in a hurry. Everybody's got an armful of bags. Everybody's totally vulnerable to people like this dude who has a long record of guns, drugs, money, and bitches. But he's back on the street. Nobody cares. I guess he promised to be good last time he got caught. I guess he got some court-appointed psychologist to look the judge in the eye and explain to the judge that this fellow is the victim of 4,004 million years of slavery. That's why we have to let him go, because, Your Honor, you don't understand. This guy that almost killed the woman we're about to hear about, he's not really the perpetrator, Your Honor. He's really the victim. And besides, that woman, doesn't she deserve it? Isn't she part and parcel of the system of white privilege? Doesn't she benefit from that? So really the real victim, that woman, isn't she kind of the perpetrator, Your Honor? I know that sounds stupid. You give me a better explanation as to why this idiot is on the street stabbing women in parking lots.
A woman has been hit in the head. Raleigh Boulevard.
A desperate call for help after a stabbing at a Raleigh grocery store. Good evening, I'm Sean Maroney.
And I'm Maggie Newland. Tonight, that victim is in the hospital, and the man accused of putting her there is still on the run.
CBS North Carolina's David Hurst is looking into what led up to all of this. David?
Yeah, Sean, witnesses paint a frightening, hectic picture of what went down here Thursday night. Witnesses tell us a woman was putting her groceries in her car when a man ambushed her, robbed her, and stabbed her multiple times.
Stabbed him. He bolted straight.
Nicholas Lawrence was heading into the food line Thursday night when all of a sudden he heard a loud shriek.
And all I hear is a ton of screaming and yelling. And I look over here, and this guy in some black hoodie is It looks like she's stabbing this lady and she's screaming.
Police say the man stabbed the 36-year-old woman 3 times in the head and 3 times in the back.
Does she need an ambulance? Yes, she does. She's bleeding very badly.
Lawrence says several people went to go help the woman, so he took off after the suspect.
The guy went that way, but he was really fast, like really, really fast.
Witnesses say the suspect got away after running towards the apartment complex across the street.
Was he by himself? From what I saw, yes. I was told that he was across the street behind a red truck, and then he came out and then he ran afterwards.
It's not known if this was a random act, but a police report reveals the man stole 2 cell phones and $300 worth of cash from the woman.
Hectic, big time. It was intense. very intense. It was kind of scary, I ain't gonna lie to you.
The 36-year-old is in the hospital with serious injuries, but she's expected to survive.
Here's a little more about the event, some information about tickets, who's putting it on, what's happening, etc., etc., etc. I'm looking forward to the event. Let's head down to Boynton Beach, Florida. Boynton Beach. From what I know about Boynton Beach is that there's a lot of rich people live there, okay? And so when these rich people go out, for some reason they have an expectation of safety. They have an expectation they can go to a movie without running into a crowd of 300 black people who are going to rampage through the mall, destroy property, create violence, defy police, injure 4 police, and knock over this little old lady and put her in the hospital with some really nasty injuries. And by the way, when you get the crap beat out of you like that, when you're 67 years old, those are permanent injuries. I'm sorry, but they are. Why don't we just blow through some of this article so we can see how this denial, deceit, and delusion works in action. A chaotic crowd, seemingly fueled by unruly teenagers, trampled a 67-year-old grandmother January 6th as she left a Boynton Beach movie theater. There may have been a gun at the Cinemark lobby. She's got broken bones in her face. She lost a big hearing aid, $3,000 worth. Yeah, that hurt. 11 juveniles were arrested. Authorities were first called to the Boynton Mall due to reports as many as 300 juveniles were loitering. They were loitering. One teen later told police they were there to fight. When the mall closed at 9 p.m., the juveniles meandered to the movie theater where they planned to see Insidious: The Last Key. The next showing of the horror film wasn't until 10:30. The theater wouldn't open until 10. So the gaggle of teens and 17 cops waited. Here we have a personal testimony from the woman who was trampled. I could hear young people yelling and screaming at each other. Wow. Do people yell and scream at each other when they meander? No. Anyway, this Cohen woman had been at she'd been at a showing of All the Money in the World with her husband. I think that's the story of J. Paul Getty, who wouldn't ransom his grandson. I haven't seen it yet, so can't give you any spoiler alerts. Anyway, so I like it when they tell you what movies they see. That's really important to me. And, okay, so the movie lets out at 9 o'clock. Her husband headed towards the bathroom. She said, "I'll meet you outside, honey." According to police, multiple fights broke out outside of the building, prompting theater employees to cancel the 10:30 showing of the horror film and order the teenagers to leave. Many of the teenagers ignored the initial orders, so at least one officer pulled out pepper spray and threatened to use it. Despite a few who resisted arrest, most teens cleared the area and spilled over into nearby restaurants. Okay, so we already know that the movie theater people told them to leave, they wouldn't leave. Then a minute later, they're contradicting that by saying, most teens cleared the area and spilled into nearby restaurants. But at some point, amid the commotion, someone yelled, "Gun!" They did, however, find nobody found a gun. They did, however, find evidence to arrest nearly 12 juveniles on misdemeanor charges, mainly resisting arrest, disturbance-related offenses. All the juveniles were released to their parents. You know, this is like it's like a nothing burger, right? It's like, oh yeah, 300 black people at the mall. You know, hey, what are you going to do? It's what they do. One teen went to the hospital. Here's the money graph. They buried the lead. Here's the lead of the story. 4 officers sustained cuts and other injuries while responding to the disturbances that night. I don't know if that's the lead, but it's a different story. It's a separate story. You have a town where 300 black people are rampaging through a mall and 4 cops get injured. And the best you can do is say they were meandering around. How many stories have we done of large-scale black mob violence at movie theaters? How many stories have we done where, some unsuspecting white couple who do not watch this channel, who are living in some kind of bubble, who think they can just go anywhere, do anything, anytime they please when there's a bunch of black people around, they go up to the black people and say, "Oh, excuse me, black people. You seem to be making a lot of noise, and well, you're really disturbing my ability, hurting my ability to enjoy this cinematic experience. So could you guys all please calm down and quiet down so we could all enjoy it? Wouldn't you be happy, much happier that way?" That's how people talk to the fellas and their lovely ladies. When that happens, we just did this the other night. When that happens, the fellas and the lovely ladies wait out in the lobby, wait in the parking lot, and beat the crap out of that person. Do you think this is a one-off thing, two-off thing? How about 20, 30, 40, 50 things together? Easy. Just in movie theaters. Easy. Most of them don't make the papers. It's the end of the story. The reporter says, "Well, the newspaper, we contacted the theater, but they did not say whether they had a plan for dealing with large-scale violence at their theaters." Well, they have the same plan that you have, Madam or Mr. or Madam reporter. That is to ignore, deny, condone, excuse, encourage, and even lie about it because, A, you guys don't want anybody calling you a racist if you go around saying, "Yeah, it was another group of large-scale black mob violence," because you're not down with that. You're not down with anybody calling you a racist. You want to be the ones calling people racist. And besides, people at your paper know if 300 black people are rampaging through a mall, there must be a damn good reason for it, like 400 years of slavery. But the mall owners, what would you do if you were the mall owners? Would you go crying to the newspaper that your mall is now a regular and frequent and predictable site of large-scale black mob violence? No, that would be the last thing you told local press as you put the permanently closed sign on your mall. So I don't really blame the property owners for trying to hide the fact that people are in danger on his property now. But we have a lot of people who watch these videos. Just the other day I counted up how many. Somebody the other day said, "Colin, I'm a big fan of Ronnie Bennington." He's the clown from the Anthony Cumia show I had a little tussle with. "But I never heard of you, man. You're a nobody." I said, "Hey, man, I've done a couple books. I didn't tell him this, but I don't feel like needing to. But I said, okay, I've got a couple best-selling books. A lot of people read the books. Then I started counting up my YouTube views over the last couple of years. It's over 100 million. I was with the great Willie Shields, and he said, "Hey, Colin, how many did you tell him? 10 million? No, 100 million. God, but we got shut down last year. We were doing 12 million a month, views per month. That's what happens when you just let the YouTube algorithm just go organically and let it respond to people who like videos and share them and subscribe to them, all the regular. So if I had that kind of traffic on a sewing channel, they wouldn't have messed with me. But when you see they're conservative, you're talking truth about racial stuff, they throttle you down until they finally kick you off, which is what happened to me. But you know what? It happened. We're on Minds.com. It's all good. We're carrying on. Nobody's going to stop us. And there's too much at risk here. We got ladies in parking lots being stabbed. We've been talking about parking lots as a thing for a long time. I know a lot of people are watching these videos, but a lot are not. Apparently the family of this lady stabbed in the parking lot, they're not watching these videos. They didn't go to her and say, "Hey, black people hurting white women in parking lots is a thing now. You know that, right?" Yeah, Colin has documented it in a lot of places. Lots and lots of videos. Oh, that white people in movie theaters getting hurt and assaulted by black people, that's a thing, right? Did you know that? So maybe nobody told them that. Maybe they didn't know that. Maybe they were in danger. You know, that's the thing. They were in danger they didn't know about. So is the landowner complicit? Yes, absolutely. Is the paper complicit? Oh, way more than the landowner, because it's the paper's job to tell the truth. It's the property owner's job to put forward the best possible view of his business. How everybody's having a great fun time there, eating popcorn and bonbons and Reese's peanut butter cups and eating hot dogs and singing that song that you hear before the movies. Let's all go to the lobby. Yeah, that's his job. The newspaper's job is to cut through this and say, hey, what's up with black people at movie theaters in their town, in that town? What's up with that in Boynton Beach? Does anybody know that it happens around the country? What's up with that? What's up with all these black people hurting people in parking lots? What's up with that? Well, Colin, white people do it too. Oh, please, I'm begging you, show me those videos. Show me the white people going crazy in movie theater videos. Show me a movie theater person who worked in a movie theater. Put them on this channel. See if they have the nerve to tell us that violence in movie theaters is a black, to try to disagree that violence in movie theaters is a black thing. Go ahead. Oh, you think there's a food desert in the ghetto? Think there's a food desert in black neighborhoods? What about movie theaters? Fellows are not going to the movie theaters in the ghetto because those movie theaters are long gone. What about shopping? What about the food desert and the mall desert in these ghettos? You think people, we just did a story in Memphis. How they're closing at Kroger's. The same Kroger's that was the scene of a famous episode of large-scale black mob violence. Same story that we did in Baltimore at Mondawmin Mall, ground zero for black mob violence during the Baltimore riots. The places that are the center of these episodes of violence are closing. They're losing millions of dollars a year. And when it happens, the same people who were in such denial, deceit, and delusion about the riots continue it. They look in the camera and they go, well, why is that store closing? Why is that? There's nothing wrong with that store. That store's fine. People don't want to go to that store anymore. Women are the ones that spend all the money in the country. And even though women are, I hate to say this, but women are the ones in more denial, deceit, and delusion on average than men are about this problem. But they can be in denial, deceit, and delusion about it on one level, but on another level, they're smart enough to know that if that place is not safe, that shopping center is not safe, that movie theater is not safe, so I'm not going anywhere near there for my groceries. That's not the only place in Baltimore or Memphis or Boynton Beach or anywhere that I can buy my stuff. So they just stop going and they lose money. What about the employees at this shopping center? What about the employees at the movie theater? If you're a 16, 17-year-old kid and your parents have any damn sense, and your parents know that you're going to be in the middle of a large-scale episode of black mob violence regularly because you work at that mall, any parent with any amount of sense is going to go down there, grab you by the scruff of your neck and saying, as long as you live under my house, it's going to be my rules, and you're not going to be in a place where you're going to get hurt or risk getting hurt. Not worth it to me. Maybe that's the kind of thing we'll be talking about at this Night of Freedom event this weekend. A Night for Freedom event this weekend. If you're in the neighborhood, I hope you'll come up. If you're going to this thing already, I hope you'll come up and say hello. I'll be the tall, devastatingly handsome guy walking around, probably by myself. No, I'll be with that guy and his wife from Ohio. I don't do these things. I'm kind of a hermit. So I'll be happy. I'll be quite happy to meet people who are viewers of this channel or people who have read my book and things like that. Be happy. I'm looking forward to saying hello to Gavin and Stefan and meeting Mike Cernovich if that's in the cards. Hope I get a chance to meet you too. Maybe we can talk about your strategies for not making the black kids angry.